Welcome to Saturday Morning Retro, Episode 10, a podcast on the Rated G Network focused on retro gaming and giving us an excuse to play games in our backlog. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Dan, I have to say, I'm a little sad. I'll tell you why.
Oh, I know why you're sad. You don't even have to say it. You're
no?
Because it's a historic episode. This is the first and last episode 10 of Saturday Morning Retro, and you're a little sad. I get it. I know. I feel you. Yeah, I have a little tear myself.
It is the first and last. It is the only episode 10 of Saturday Morning Retro. This is true. No. That is not why I'm sad. The pandemic, the zombie apocalypse, as we like to call it. There are a lot of casualties. Some of those casualties are Goodwill and Salvation Army stores. And it is sad because when you go around to your usual haunts and they're not there anymore, and they put a sign up saying that, sorry, we're closed, out of business, it brings a tear to my eye.
Wait, there's a Salvation Army or Goodwill by you that's closed now?
There's multiple ones that are closed. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. There's a bunch in the city. I went by one today on 25th Street, and they were closed until tomorrow for some reason. I don't know what's up there. I think they're back in business, but yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 that have closed down permanently.
Oh, I was actually going to take a ride further out in Long Island tomorrow, and try to do some game hunting at Salvation Army. And there's 2 GameStops around there too. So I wanted to check that out.
I would make sure they're still in business, and I'm not trying to be glib about the situation. Just saying, it's taken a toll.
Yeah, I haven't been there since, I want to say, early December, so I don't know if they're still open.
So I mean,
that's
awesome.
Weird. No, that's sad, man. We're starting to show off on a sad note. That does suck.
Well, I mean, it's something you don't really think about. You think Goodwill is just there, like they're eternally there, because it's meant to help, poor, disenfranchised. It's a way for people to buy secondhand goods, right? It's doing a great service for the community, and you just assume that they're always going to be there, that Salvation Army is always going to be there. But they're private institutions, right? They're not necessarily government funded. And, I think that they may be 501(c)(3)s or whatever. I don't know what the status is to be like a nonprofit or whatever. I think they have that. But still, I mean, they have to pay for space and hire employees and whatnot. And, the pandemic kind of took it for a bit of a toll.
All right. So I got sort of like a collector gamer grief.
Okay.
That, I know it affects you and affects every gamer out there, because if you have a gaming podcast or YouTube channel, you've definitely addressed this at some point. And I think you addressed it on on our regular show, the regular Rated G show, about the stickers that these game stores or stores in general put on the games, right?
Oh yeah,
and the adhesive
right over
that's
the label
on it. After time, it just gets stuck in there, and it sucks when the slip cover is like a cardboard cover, right? Because there's no way to get it off without ripping the cardboard. I think Goodwill. I've never had a big issue with Goodwill or the Salvation Army, because it's always like those little price stickers, right? And they've always been super easy to get off.
They're usually pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like atrocious like GameStop, where they put
GameStop's the worst.
They put the big sticker in the back, and they put the big sticker in the front, and now you get it. And then they put the sticker on top of the sticker if the price changes, instead of taking the original sticker off.
Yeah, they're so lazy. And I get it. I understand. It's a grueling 8-hour shift all day. You're on your feet, and it's tiring day in, day out. But come on. If you want to move product, you got to make it a point to say, all right, you got to pull off the old sticker before you put the new one on.
That's why Goodwills, who sometimes have sports games for $10 or $5, which sucks because they're not going to sell. At least their sticker game is on point.
The sticker game is 100% on point. Yeah.
Sticker game is on point.
Their pricing game, not so much, because it's just a flat scale. So sometimes you can make out, right? Sometimes you can get a $30 game for $5 or a $40 game for $5.
All right. Enough of this sad stuff. Let's get into the show. We're going to have an awesome show this month. I'm going to talk about X-Men Mutant Academy, the first one that came out on the PlayStation. And Dave is going to tell me why I should actually play and love a pinball game called Flipnic on a PS that came out on PS2.
I'm gonna tell you why it's a hidden gem.
Oh my God! All right, Metal Jesus Dave. All right, Metal Dave. Metal Dave.
That's right.
But first, as we always like to start the Saturday morning retro shows, this month in gaming history, and I think this will make you very happy, Dave. Okay, because this month, February 9th, 1990, in North America, the second best NES game was released: Super Mario Brothers 3.
The second best NES game. Wow, you have a very odd scale for rating games. Super Mario Bros. 3. Yes. I mean, what hasn't been said about this game? All right. It was a monumental leap.
I don't know. You'll figure it out.
It was a monumental leap over the first one, though, right? Like, part 2 was kind of a bit of a departure. If you want to
part 2 wasn't even a Mario game, to be honest. So
I mean, technically no, but even if you want to put that in the mix, like, 2 did move things forward a little bit graphically, and you could pick up items and the subspace.
But then you sort of took a step back because jumping on an enemy didn't kill an enemy, right?
Well, you were able to pick them up, which was an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that was like Mario, right?
Look at like the Koopa shells in 3, right? You can bop on the head and then you can pick up the shell and you could like kick it forward or toss it forward.
Yeah,
which was kind of interesting. And then like in World, you were able to toss it upwards and then hit like other blocks to like make things fall. So I mean,
on a regular Goomba, right? Like you can't do that on a regular Goomba, just jumping on it. Even though Goombas weren't even in 2, right? Shy Guys.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was a reskin of the Doki Doki Panic game, but I mean, I think you could still call it. I mean, it's different, but I would still consider it a Mario game. And even if you want to say, okay, let's go with the Japanese Mario 2. Because the Japanese Mario 2 was very close to the first one. I don't think they innovated as much. They just made it real difficult. And I don't
think they innovated at all. They just made it challenging.
Right, exactly, which is exactly why it didn't come out here, and they reskinned a different game. So that kind of lends even more to the point. Like Mario 3, like, all the different theme worlds, and you had an inventory system, right? There was all the bonus shops, all the little hidden areas you could.
I know you can go on and on about this. I know you can go on and on about Mario World. Super Mario 3. I get it. You love the game, and we already know.
I'm just saying. We're talking about this game in history, right? With this certain point in history right now.
But I want to bring this up. This game came out in North America on February 9th, 1990. Okay, and everyone's going crazy for Super Mario Brothers 3, but it was already out for 2 years in Japan. It came out in 1988.
Yep.
Right? Like we were kids. There was no Google. There was no internet. There was no social media.
You didn't know. You didn't know about the game.
Yeah. Right? So in 1988, we were just getting Super Mario Brothers 2, I think.
Well, that's right. Yeah, 2 came out that year, that like fall, I think. I think it's a testament to the game that the gameplay held up 2 years afterwards, and it still felt fresh. We were like, oh my God. So nobody was able to put out a game from 88 to 1990 that was as good as Mario 3 from 1988. That's what that tells me, which is insane. It floored kids in America.
Still the second best game on NES.
Listen, you can downplay it all you want. I know you love Mario World. And Mario World is great, but you got to recognize Mario Brothers 3 for what it is.
No, I love Mario Brothers 3. I guess I'm more nostalgic for Mario Brothers 2 cuz that was my first hype game. Like ever, right? It was like right now, if you're listening to this and you're young, let me put the hype in perspective. You know how everybody wants a PS5?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's the hype that was Super Mario World 2.
I 100% agree because I got it Christmas '88. My parents hid it specifically at the other tiny little Christmas tree. And they said, I think you have another game, and I think Santa dropped something in the other room, and that was the Mario 3 or the Mario 2.
Yeah. So the hype was real back in those days.
Yeah,
for Mario
100%.
with no social media, just word of mouth, and a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Dave, this is the part of the show where you tell me if you got any good pickups this month.
Oh, always have good pickups, Dan. Always have good pickups. I got. I don't know if you know the Grandia series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Picked up.
I mean, am I a fan of it? No. Not
well, I know because it's an RPG. It's a JRPG, no less. So you're already out. But yeah, it started out on the Saturn. It was ported to the PS1 in America. They made part 2. That came to the Dreamcast, and they put part 3 out on the PS2. So that's the game that I picked up. Complete, is in very good condition. Also, I got Mercenaries for the PS2. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U edition. That is the full name for that. I got that for I think $5 at GameStop. And
that's a good game. Trust me, I played it. I think I played it for one of our early episodes of Saturn Morning Retro.
You may have. Yeah, it's cool because it has like Nintendo themed costumes for a lot of the fighters. So you can dress up as like Mario and Peach and Bowser. Like that's like super cool, and that's specific to the Wii U version. So the 2012 London Olympics, and
the reason you got the little Samson of 2012.
I did. I got the little Samson of 2012. It actually goes for like $15 to $20.
Really?
Yeah. That's exactly.
That high?
That's exactly why I picked it up. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it didn't sell well. I don't know because they're never good. You know, nothing is like winter games for the Commodore 64 or the Nintendo. Like it's not summer games. It's not California games. They're like half-baked Olympic games, but you know the going rate is good, so I picked it up. I got Zoop for the Super Nintendo, complete in box.
Zoop.
Yeah, Zoop is Zoop was on everything, man.
Oh man, I remember Zoop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Action platformer, or not action puzzle game, where you play as a little triangle. Yeah.
I think I have Zoop on a Genesis.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it came out PlayStation, Saturn, 3DO, Sega CD. I think.
I wonder if Zoop on a Genesis is different from the SNES version.
Oh, I'm sure it's exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
I'm sure every single version, right up to the PS1 version, is exactly the same. Because it wasn't anything that crazy technologically advanced. Just a bunch of different colors and shapes. But yeah. And finally, you'll be very happy about this. I got The Walking Dead for the Xbox 360.
Oh, a fantastic game, the best Telltale game
right?
ever made. Season 1, you got Season 1, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Season 1. I don't think it's complete.
Okay. Well,
which I definitely do want to get the complete version.
Well, you got to make sure you got to see if it's where you got to download the episodes, right? Or if the episodes are already downloaded on it. So it should indicate that on there, on the box. Because remember, a lot of the Telltale games, when you bought the actual physical disc, it was you bought the season's pass. Like the first episode was on there, and you brought the season's pass to the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It honestly doesn't say.
Yeah. So you may have to pop it in just to double check.
Probably, yeah. How about you, Dan?
Well, that's why I brought...
What have you picked up?
Well, I'm just saying as a side note, that's why I try to now... Well, now that Telltale is back, it's a little different, right? I mean, look, Tales from the Borderlands is being, republished.
Yeah.
That's coming out to all platforms. But I bought a lot of the stuff over again. Like I have the Batman games on the Xbox One, but that's the Season's Pass version. So I bought the Batman Season 2, I think it was Season 2 on the Switch because all the episodes were on the actual cart.
Nice.
So I try to buy it when I know it's going to be on the cart. The Walking Dead Complete Edition I have on the PS4 has every episode on it, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, nice.
Just in case the servers go down. But I got some pretty good pickups. I want to say February and a little bit in January too, because I think some of these I got in early January.
Okay.
But they count.
Sure.
I got the Outer Wilds for the PS4. Super interested in this game now. I mean, we talked about it on the regular show. We saw the Nintendo Direct. It's coming out on the Switch this summer.
Yep.
I missed this game when it came out because, again, it came out at the same time as the Outer Wilds. I mean, the Outer
Worlds. Yeah. And everyone got them confused, including us.
But, yeah, and I didn't even see a trailer for it, so I didn't even know what this game was about. To be honest. Mm-hmm. But now that I've seen the trailer that's coming out on the Switch, I definitely want to pop this in and try it out.
It was on a lot of people's games you must play in 2020 or 2019. 2019, yeah. And some people even nominated it for Game of the Year.
Yeah. A lot of IGN guys got nominated for Game of the Year. So I definitely want to check this out. Metal Gear Solid 2 for the Xbox.
Nice.
I forgot this even came out. I thought this was a PlayStation exclusive. I forgot it came out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was until it came out on the Xbox. Yeah. I if I'm not mistaken, I think this game had some gameplay issues with the frame rate.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I specifically remember something about the rain being a problem in the game. Maybe not. Maybe it'll run smooth, especially if you can play it on like a 360 backwards compatible. It may kind of smooth out that issues. But
with the rain, as long as it doesn't make the floor slippery, I'm sure it's a stealth game.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to try it out and see. But I remember some reviewers noting that there were some frame rate issues.
I got one of the Capcom 5 games, if you remember that from back in the day.
Yeah.
And judging by the name, this could have been the third one because it's PN3.
Oh, yeah, PN03.
Project number 3.
Yep.
I think is the actual name of the game.
I think you're right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I do remember this game.
Now, if you're going to talk about a lot of people call this a hidden gem. The only problem people have with the game, I mean, there are other problems with the game, just as is. I mean, people had problems with the game when it first came out, but trying to go back and play it now, just, it's a first-person game, so the controls just, it sucks. Trying to control the player, you can't move the camera with the right stick.
Right. It's a locked on straight ahead of you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Another game that's a hidden gem. A lot of people said it is a hidden gem, which is why I picked it up. And it's going. It's not too expensive, but it seems to be rising in price from what I've seen. That's Chaos Legion on a PS2.
Oh yeah, I picked this game up a while ago. Yeah,
sort of. Isn't this like a Devil May Cry clone? Sort of, right? Like in that style.
Yep. Very, very much that kind of game. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play because I love that Bayonetta Devil May Cry type of. I call them 3D beat 'em ups.
3D beat 'em ups.
Lots of enemies coming at you, and you just twirling, going crazy, trying to kill them all, and with big set boss battles.
Yeah.
God of War. Right?
Yeah.
So, a game I thought I had, but I didn't have. Apparently, was Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Wii.
Interesting.
I thought I had this. I had the Kirby collection. The Kirby Dreamland collection, but I didn't have I guess this was the new game at the time.
This isn't a remake, right? It's a new entry.
I don't know actually.
Okay.
Well, Kirby Return to Dreamland. It sounds like it's sort of like a remake because he's returning. It could be a remake of the first one, or it could be a sequel. That's
what I was thinking, but I don't know. But nice.
This one flew under the radar for me. I thought I had all the Kirby Dreamland games, but this was the only one I was missing out of the collection. So,
nice.
I love my demo games. I love collecting demos for games because at one point as a kid, when you have no money and you playing a demo over and over and over again, it's a new game, right?
You milk the crap out of it. I only get 2 fighters. It's fine. I'm gonna make it work.
I was actually, funny enough, I told you in the other show, I beat Uncharted 4 again for the second time. I might as well say I played Crash Bandicoot because in Uncharted 4, they have the original Crash Bandicoot game.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot while I was playing Uncharted 4.
Is there like an arcade machine you go up to and then you get
there's a PlayStation. There's an original PlayStation hooked up to the TV.
Nice.
And you're competing about who's going to wash the dishes. It was like, well, if you lose, then you got to wash the dishes.
Love it.
So that, and another game I didn't know existed, Parappa the Rapper for the PlayStation Portable for the PSP. I didn't know. I didn't even know that. I didn't know they had a Parappa the Rapper. Was this Now you tell me, is this sort of like the original game just on the PSP?
Yeah, it just got ported over. I don't know if they added anything to it. That I'm not sure about, but yeah, it's essentially the OG game.
It's do you know if they changed anything or anything? Like
that I don't know. Yeah, that I'm not sure about. I don't know if they added anything to it. I want to say no. I think it was just kind of a straight port to the portable system.
Well, wasn't there like I got Jammer Lammy?
That is technically the sequel where you play as Jammer Lammy, who's in a rock band, versus Parappa the Rapper, who's a rap star. But yeah, it's essentially the same game, just with a new story.
Well, I actually just picked that up, so nice. I have that as well. Mm-hmm. The con for PSP, I really wanted to bolster my PSP collection, and I wanted to look to see what some of the people saying top 10 or top 20 PSP games, and the con came up. I actually want to play it for Saturday Morning Retro. It looks kind of cool, right? Like first person. I don't know where the con part goes in. Maybe that's in the story where I'm a con artist or something like that.
Is it like The Getaway? Is it like that game?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's like The Getaway, but apparently it's made a lot of top 10, top 20 PSP lists.
Wow. All right.
So I wanted to check that out. And lastly, I got Klonoa 2 for the PS2. What's the strategy guide?
That is a heavy hitter, Dan. Nice.
Yes, I don't have it complete. It's missing the manual, but it's the box game. And I said I was okay with not having the manual because they threw in a strategy guide.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's better than the manual.
Better than the manual.
That's awesome.
Don't get me wrong. I wish it was the manual. I wish I did have the manual too. But having a strategy guide to go along with it, it's gone up there in price.
Yeah,
which is really expensive. Try getting the Wii version is expensive, and getting the original Klonoa for the PlayStation
1. Yeah,
that's also super expensive. I want to get the PlayStation 1 version, to be honest.
Yeah, so. I mean, if you have the money, you can get it. It's definitely on eBay, but it's worth a lot.
Oh, the first one is like 200. No, I think it's like $150 or something around that. Yeah. That's crazy. That sounds about right. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's that much, but it must be a really good game.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know if it's $150 good, but it's good.
Oh, all right. Well,
I don't think a lot of games are $150.
Is Little Samson worth $1,200?
Little Samson is amazing. It's definitely not worth $1,200.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I don't think any game is worth that much, honestly.
All right, Dave. This is when we do our Triple R segment, where we pick a game and we say either we want to remaster it, remake, or recycle an idea from it and make it into a new game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I'm super curious to hear what your Triple R is, because you sort of teased it to me, and I don't know. I don't get why you want this game. So tell me why you want this game to come back.
Well, let me tell you what the game is first, Dan, before we get into it. But Fez is the game up on the block, right? Fez is for the my Triple R segment. And
Fez gave me a headache last time I played it on the 360, going back and forth in all those different worlds.
Oh yeah. Fez is the trip. For people who don't know, it's a 2D game. It's a 3D game played in a 2D plane. That's the simplest way to describe it. So you can move left and right, and you can jump to go on platforms and this and that, and then you can use the triggers to turn the world 90 degrees, right? Or 45 degrees. 90? No, 90. Yeah, 90, because, yeah. Because 90 times 4 is 360, which is a full rotation, yeah. So you move it 90 degrees.
Which is why they call it the Xbox 360.
Yeah, well. So you end up moving the world, and because it's a 3D world and a 2D plane, things move into different spots, and it makes a different configuration, and then you can get to different areas because stuff is kind of flattened. So it may be far off in the distance, but because there's no Z-axis, it's right there in front of you. You kind of have to see it And even when you see a gameplay, you kind of have to play it, and then you go, holy shoot, this is a trip. And I love it. And I mean, the game came out in like, I don't know, 2010 or 11, I think, around that time. And it came out for Xbox 360, PS3, and I think PC a little bit later. And they also made an iOS version, I think back in 2012, maybe. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding the creator of the game, Phil Fish, right?
The game came out in 2012, April 13th.
Okay. If you want context on the development of Fez, as well as some other great indie games, watch Indie Game the movie, because it details the whole entire process of Phil Fish, as well as some other indie devs, in creating their game and how it came to be and why he's no longer a developer and why there's no Fez 2. So he founded this company, Polytronic, and they put the game out. It was amazing. And that's exactly why we haven't seen any ports to Xbox One or, PS5, PS4, or any other systems, or the Wii U or the Switch. And people are clamoring for it, right? It's an indie darling. It's a great game. It's one of my top 10 games of all time. I love it. So that's why I want to see this game remastered for current consoles. All right. You make the same game again, maybe, turn up the resolution a little bit and just put the game out as is. Like, it's perfect. Nothing needs to change on it.
Well, I'll do a spin on that. How about that?
Okay.
You had told me you would pick Fez, but you didn't tell me which triple R you would pick for it. That's why I was like, what were you gonna do with Fez? What would you do with Fez? But now I understand. You want to remaster it because you can only play it on a 360 right now.
Yeah. Like, I want to make it accessible in the same way that Scott Pilgrim is now accessible. You can play it on modern systems.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, what would you possibly want to remake? Or you recycle it?
You definitely can't recycle that. Like, the premise is too good and the execution is too good.
How about this? How about I recycle it? How about I put it in VR?
Oh my God.
How about
God. That would be bananas.
Yeah.
That would be bananas. I could get down with that. I can get down with that.
All right, so I just gave you an extra triple R on top of that.
Yeah, you put the cherry on top. Nice.
Put the cherry on top. But my triple R this month, I think you're gonna like this one. Okay. The Fantastic Four.
Already out. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
All right, the movie sucked.
Yes.
And all the games sucked.
You knew where I was going. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna recycle that. Okay, because there were 3 games, I think. There were the original game on the PlayStation 1.
Sure.
It was okay, not the greatest. It was okay. We had the movie tie-in, right? That came out on the GameCube. And I think there was a Game Boy version or maybe a Game Boy Advance version of Fantastic Four.
I think it was out on PS2 too, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. No, it was GameCube. Okay. I think it was GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. But I have it for the GameCube. That's why the GameCube part is in my mind.
Okay.
So I'm going to recycle the idea from the only thing I'm taking from all those Fantastic Four games are the actual Fantastic Four characters.
The comic book heroes. You're taking the best part. You're taking the best part. Okay.
And I want to put them, and I want to make a Fantastic Four Warriors game. I want to make a Muso Fantastic Four game. Right.
All right. I'll allow it because it's an interesting concept.
So think of it. No. Here's the setting, right? Like, I love Zelda Age of Calamity. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. The story makes it worthwhile. What does Marvel do best? They tell great stories, right? Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, great stories, right? Because they are invested in Marvel itself is invested in making the story with it. So great cinematics. I want to take that and make a Muso style game. You can put it Fantastic Four in New York City, in Manhattan.
Sure.
You can have the 4 different characters in different places in the city beating, it's. There you go. The Skrull invasion, right? Like, that was one of the comics or one of the enemies for Fantastic Four. We have a Skrull invasion, which gives you an excuse to have so many different soldiers and stuff, right? It's an invasion in New York, and Fantastic Four has to stop it, right? So they have to go to different parts of New York, clear the area until you get the big Skrull battle sort of at the end. You could have a great story in it, and maybe introduce some secondary characters that we never heard of before. Right, and you can even have Spider-Man as DLC. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, you could expand it out to the whole Marvel universe for sure. But I like this idea. I like this idea. Superheroes in like a Muso game.
Yeah. And you got Mr. Fantastic. He's stretchy, right? You could do different movesets that can attack several different enemies at once, which you need in a Muso game. You need, none of these guys have weapons, so it just makes sense that he can make a big fist or he could twirl around. Obviously, Human Torch can do the fire thing. The Thing is just like the Hulk. He can run through everything and destroy them. I think what's her name? Sue Richards. What's her?
Sue Richards. Miss Invisible Woman. Is it Invisible Woman? Yeah.
Well, she's invisible.
Right.
You could do something
That's
with
her
that
power.
because she can always make like a giant bubble to protect, right? So she can maybe blow it up or throw bubbles or throw projectiles or something like that. You can always give her some type of weapon. So I would love that because you get the story and you get the mindless gameplay and all mixed up in that. So that's about Triple R.
Nice. Okay. I like it.
All right, why don't we take a break? When we come back, me and Dave are going to dive into our backlog and talk about X-Men Mutant Academy and Flipnic. And we're back. All right, Dave. Let's dig into our backlog and play some old games. I played X-Men Mutant Academy. All right, this game came out July 14th, 2000. So this game is 20. It'll be 21 this year. It'll be able to drink.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You know how old that makes us, Dan? Very, very.
Well, I'll tell you this though. After playing this game, it made me want to drink. Somewhat.
Spoilers.
It was developed by Midway Studio of Los Angeles, formerly known as Paradox Development. I never even knew who Paradox Development was. I had to actually look that up. But published by Activision. It was released on the PlayStation 1, and there was a port to the Game Boy Color.
Wow, that I did not know.
Yeah, it's a totally separate game. I actually own that game. I owned that game first before I got the PS1
version. Yeah,
and it's a fighting game in the style of like Tekken, Street Fighter. I'll get into that in a second. I actually did play this on the OG PS1. My OG piss yellow PS1
from back in the day. Oof.
Back in the day, I actually dusted it off and played it on the PS1. Okay. I wanted to get the feel of how it would feel to play this game in 2000. So I didn't want to pop it in the any PS2 systems.
DualShock controller or regular OG PS1?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I played with both.
Okay. Interesting.
A little background on this. This was a tie-in to the original X-Men movie. They actually had the movie trailer part of the game, which was awesome. I watched it. It was a little bit weird. The frame rate was super slow.
Yeah.
I thought, listen, if I'm not going to say how old I was in 2000, but I was much younger than I am now, but I would have been going crazy, like watching a movie trailer on my video game, on my TV through my video game. That would have been awesome.
Right. The internet was still kind of young then. We didn't have YouTube. What
was the first game with a movie trailer? Was this the first game with a movie trailer in it?
No, definitely not. I mean, it's got to have been one of the first CD games. I would say back from the early 90s, probably.
Wow.
Okay. But I couldn't tell you what. But
there was a N64 port being developed, but that
really
actually got canceled. Yeah, and that makes sense. I could see this on the N64, but that port got canceled. There was no reason given No reason I can find given why it was canceled. I would say maybe just time constraints, because they did make a sequel pretty quickly. It came out the following year.
Right.
So I could see maybe they canceled it over time. The cool thing about this game is one of the things that excited me about this game. You can play the game with either the comic book style or with the comic book costumes or the movie costumes.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
So
that's kind of cool. I think that's a nice nod.
Well, yeah. I mean, I obviously, whenever you play any type of fighting game with X-Men in it, what's the first character you go for? Wolverine. Right. Yeah. And I thought it was awesome. I beat Wolverine. I beat the game twice with Wolverine, with the regular Wolverine yellow and then the movie Wolverine all in black. So the characters you can play as: Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, Beast, Phoenix. For some weird reason, why they didn't just make Jean Grey, but you could play
right, because Jean Grey was in the movie.
She was in the movie.
She wasn't Dark Phoenix or Phoenix yet. Yeah.
You can play and those are the X-Men. The boss. Well, the enemies, they call them bosses. I don't know. It's so weird. They're just enemies. It's Toad, Mystique, Sabretooth, and Magneto.
Yeah. So, those are the four villains from the first movie.
I know, and I know what you're saying, Dave. You're saying, Dan, there are no movie costumes for Phoenix and Gambit because they weren't in the movie.
That's right.
They were just darker versions of whatever suit they already had.
Interesting. So Gambit gets the dark brown duster as opposed to the tan duster.
Well, he's wearing a black coat instead of a.
Oh, it's a black coat. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't he wear a brown duster?
Version.
I thought he wore a brown duster.
Well, he wore like a brown coat. Like a dark brown coat. Yeah. And now he's just wearing a black coat.
Ridiculous. But I mean, I guess that makes sense, because how do you make a movie costume out of a character who wasn't in the movie?
Yeah. Why did they choose Phoenix? No idea. Should have just I don't. Would have made more sense. It just would have made more sense. I mean, this is a 2D fighter. This is sort of 2D fighters in 3D stages, right? The weird thing is this is a 6-button fighter, so 3 buttons for punches, 3 buttons for kicks. Doing combos is like impossible in this game. I gotta be honest. The controls are super stiff, which is one of the drawbacks of why I wasn't so excited playing this game. But the novelty of having the skins on it got me through. That was the biggest thing.
Okay.
Playing an dedicated X-Men fighting game, right? If they didn't have X-Men characters and these were just stick figures, this game would be trash on a Dave scale.
Wow. Okay.
I want to. I see what they try to do. They try to give it replayability by, if you beat the game, you unlock the intro for each character, which is kind of ass backwards.
You don't get an ending clip, you get an intro clip.
You get an intro clip, which is ass backwards. Well, okay, when you first put the game on, you sort of get a trailer of, the X-Men, right? And this is super cool. That's it. When you hit arcade mode, there is no story mode. You don't have a story. You're just fighting. You pick a character and you have to beat everybody else. So you have to beat every other character. So, and then you get an intro clip for your character. I beat it with Wolverine, and the intro clip is Wolverine getting animanium, bones.
Right.
That's the first thing that should have came on when I picked Wolverine to play. Right. No, but that's not the case. That's what you get when you beat the game. That's your reward. Jesus. Then they have survival mode, where you have to win at least 8 battles, and then you get the comic stills in the menu system, and you can see the different you get to see stills of the covers of different comic books that all the characters were in. Well, it's like 10 of them, not all of them, which I guess is pretty cool for the time.
Sure. Yeah. And I think on par with other games at the time with extras and all that.
I would just like the time we had cheat codes, which you can easily find online. And I did to unlock everything. Also the bosses, as they call it, or the villains are locked. You have to actually beat the game with like every character to unlock those bosses, except for Toad. For some odd reason,
you can just play as Toad out the box.
You could just play Toad out the box. They put Mystique, Sabretooth, and Magneto as locked characters.
Sure.
But not Toad, which doesn't make any sense. Just put Toad behind the lock barrier too. Put all the bosses, as they call them, behind locked.
So how many playable characters in total, including the hidden characters?
10. 6 heroes, 4 villains.
That's a little light, considering that Street Fighter 2 had 8 plus the 4 bosses. It's true. A little bit light, and I know they were trying to go for like kind of movie parody in that way, but then they go and build out the roster with like Gambit, right, and then Phoenix, as opposed to Jean Grey. I mean, they could have had both in there as 2 separate characters to add it out a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you this: the Game Boy version had 2 exclusive characters, Pyro and Apocalypse.
See, there you go. Building out the roster.
Yeah, but not on the PS1 version, which doesn't make any sense.
Right. I mean, it could have been budget or time constraints, because I'm assuming that you're up against the movie timeline, right? And it makes sense. I think July 14th was around, or even the day that the X-Men movie came out. So I think they were kind of day and date together. So yeah, that's probably part of it.
I'm gonna say, if you ask me, does this game hold up today? I would say no. For the simple reason, stiff controls and the frame rate dips. Right. And when you have frame rate dipping in a fighting game, you call it for a disaster.
Oh yeah, no, it's got to be consistent, and it's got to be at least 30 frames a second.
Yeah, it's weird trying to if you want to grab a hold of an enemy, of your opponent, you have to get super close. Like you got to be you legit have to be like in their face.
You got to get in there.
Enough. Okay. But on easy, if you want to beat this, you can easily cheese this game by good timing, by grabbing them, and when you do a grab, you actually do a fancy throw. Wait for them to get up, and you can time it right, grab them again, and keep doing it until they die. Even on easy, it does get progressively harder. Right, when you get to Mystique, and Mystique has a gun for some reason. She has like a blaster. I like playing as Mystique. The movie version where she's all blue, no dress on, but she has a big bazooka gun for some odd reason. I don't know why they felt like they had to give her a gun. No one else has a weapon.
Right, but she's got a gun.
Well, I mean, I guess Wolverine has weapons, but
he's got.
No, I take that back. Wolverine has claws, and Gambit has the stick. So there is somebody else with a weapon.
Sure, but those are at least like part of their character.
Yes, I don't know why she has a big bazooka gun.
Yeah, Mystique doesn't normally have a big bazooka, right? I could see if she like carried arms around with her on the regular, but that's not her superpower. That's not what she does. She's not like Bishop.
You know what would have been cooler? I don't know if they could actually, for the technology at the time, if she could just mimic you, right? If she just went through the whole game mimicking other characters.
Oh, sure, yeah, you could be like the Shang Tsung of X-Men.
Yeah. So whatever character costume you have, she has the opposite, right? Like she can morph into the opposite if need be. That would have been cooler. That would have been a cooler idea than giving her a bazooka.
Sure.
Which didn't make any sense.
Sure.
Toad, if you really want to play this game and enjoy it, you got to play it with either Gambit because he has the stick, Wolverine for obvious reasons, and Toad or Beast. Those are the 4 characters you want to play if you want to really beat this game and enjoy and have fun doing it. It doesn't stand up, but it's a good drunk game to play in multiplayer. I would suggest don't play this by yourself.
It's a good drunk game. There you go. See, you're speaking my language right now, right? Have a couple beers, sit around, and
play with friends.
And go head to head.
Co-op.
Yep.
Couch co-op.
Yep. Yeah. Taking it back to a simpler time.
So we can all complain about the hit detection. You didn't grab me. You weren't close enough.
Yeah, I have to say, because I had this game back in the day. I bought it with my own money for the PlayStation 1 from Electronics Boutique before I started working there. And I everything that you're saying about the game is how I remember the game. So it's all lining up. Yeah.
So if you go into training mode and you learn how to play the game, Professor X, I guess he's supposed to be in your head because it's just a floating it's like a floating hologram, and he's like, punch. No, I said punch. Right?
Yep.
And it gives you the button prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Professor X, oddly enough, Professor X is prominently he's in the cover of the game,
Yes, he is.
but he's not a playable character.
Nope. He's just a disembodied head.
Which doesn't make any sense. He's in the game, but he doesn't. And if I had to do a real complaint, like I would have had this complaint back in the day.
Yeah.
The intro scenes, right? The intro scenes you would think go for each specific character,
Right.
but they don't, because when you use the code to unlock everything, you unlock all the intro scenes to be one full scene.
Okay.
If you beat the game with Sabretooth, all you see is Professor X looking out of a window, and he's just thinking. What the hell does that have to do with Sabretooth?
I don't think I know the comics deep enough to get that inside baseball reference.
That has nothing to do with Sabretooth.
I know.
Sabretooth fighting, I don't know, fighting like army men with guns or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, because you see Magneto, people are shooting him, and he just stops the bullets.
Yeah,
throws the bullets. That's an intro scene for him. That makes sense. The best intro scene was Gambit. He's like in the bayou in one of those I don't know what they call it. You know, the hover,
the fan boats.
Fan boats. And he's being chased. He's being chased by somebody in a fan boat, and he just lights up 3 cards, throws it in a wall, and it blows up, and it crashes to the woods.
Sure. So I mean, that's what Gambit does. Yeah, he lives down in the bayou, lives in Louisiana.
That's an awesome intro scene. All right, like I could see that. I would say so. This game did come out during Metacritic days. Okay, Metacritic was around; it was a thing, and just on the PS1, Metacritic score of 75.
Okay.
And the user score is 76. So the user score is a little bit higher.
Yeah, but they're pretty aligned.
Yeah. The best score from an outlet was 92. And you'll never guess who the outlet was. You never guess who the outlet was.
You're going to have to tell me, Dan.
The Game Boys with a Z.
With the Z? Oh. Is it like DA? Game Boys?
Not the. It's the Game Boys. Now, I tried to find the actual the website doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, that is not that is not shocking.
The worst score out there was a 50, and it was from Gaming Age.
I remember Gaming Age.
Find them.
Wow.
Oh, I can't find an article. Gaming Age still exists, but I can't find the article.
Right, may have gotten lost in the shuffle when they're moving websites and trying to update content. Wow, damn. Okay.
So, if I had to give it a score,
what's your overall on this one, Dan?
It's always hard because I'm playing it in 2021, but I'm trying to look at it also from the standpoint of 2000. So I've taken that into consideration in my score. Because if I was going to give it a score now, I would give it rating it now. I would give it like a 6.5. But if I was going to rate it in 2000, I would give it a 7.5. So I'm just going to split the difference and give it a 7. Solid.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That kind of aligns with how I remember the game. If I had it in my collection, I would have also tried to play it again, but for some reason I don't have it. But wow, yeah.
Well, now you need to go. Now you need to go buy it, or I can bring it over.
I do.
And we can play
couch co-op. That's right. I'm down, Dan. I'm down. So, all right. So, my game is Flipnic. All right. And let me give you some details on this particular game because as we ended up quoting and mentioning before, it is a Metal Jesus Hidden Gem. And it is a pinball game that came out in 2003, developed and published by Capcom. That I did not realize. So, one of the big Japanese developers put this game out in 2003, released it on the PS2. All right, it is a pinball/action style game, and I played this on the PS2. So there's not a lot of info on this or kind of the development history or how this game kind of came to be, but it is fair to note that it is a unique entry in Capcom's catalog. Has only been released on the PS2. It didn't get released for Xbox or GameCube, didn't get ported to the PSP. There's been no remasters. There's been no backwards compatibility or anything like that done for like the PS4. So that's like interesting. They haven't done any sequels. This is kind of just a one and done. All right. And it came out at a time when, Japanese games were actively being ported to America, right? It wasn't like it was in the 80s or even the early 90s where you would have a ton of stuff relegated to Japan. Like it was more of a chance for that game to come out here, as wacky as the premise is. So we got to see some unique things. And one of those things is Flipnic, all right? And I know you're saying to yourself, Dan, like it's a pinball game. How can it be anything but a pinball game? All right? So here's the premise of the game, right? So take a standard pinball game, take any pinball game, take pinball for Nintendo, right? All the pinball games are the same. They all have a pinball table. They all have bumpers at the bottom, right? Or the little the flippers at the bottom. There's the plunger on the right, which sends the ball up, and there's a bunch of targets that you can hit and some ramps you can go up and whatnot, right? And some pinball tables are better than others. Some of them have, like special bonus things, or the ramps are set up in a way that's kind of unique. And every table has its own theme, right? So Flipnic is kind of different because the pinball tables are environments. So you get 4 levels out of the box, right? And see, like the first one is like forest nature themed. So you're like playing in the woods. You're playing in like a rainforest jungle, and you're playing a pinball table. And it's not just one linear top to bottom table. It's a section of the overall level. So you'll get to play like a little mini pinball table. And if you progress far enough in that area, you may open up a new lane or a new path, and then you can go into the next area, right? And everything kind of like loops back on itself and spins around so that it's like, it feels kind of organic, even though you're playing with like a metal pinball, right? And you're using the flippers to kind of move your ball around. So in that case, it's kind of cool and unique, right? And then the other thing about it is that each board has its own missions and goals. So if you look at the table before you like get into the game, right, you'll see there's like 30 or 40 different missions you can do. And you need to like hit certain targets to be able to open up that particular mission. And then you'll see like little video clips play over the top and animations, and like the level will change, and you'll see all like this cool stuff happen like in the game as you're playing it. And that kind of changes the board and opens some things up. So like that's why like Flipnic is not just a standard pinball game, right? That's why it's kind of like it has that little spin on it. And like you kind of have to see it, because even when I heard like Metal Jesus talk about it and you watch the videos, you're like, oh, that's like kind of neat. They're like trying to make it more organic and something like different. And like once you start playing it, like when I played that first table, I was like, all right, I get it. I'm in. I'll go ahead and rock with this for a little bit. So yeah, and like like I said, it's a standard pinball game, but the boards are oriented in like a unique way. In terms of the story,
basically you're playing this game for the environment, right? Like, I mean,
that's like a big part of it. Yeah,
that's the big appeal, that you have a different 3D environment. That you're in. You're in a forest, or you're in one of these. I'm actually looking at a level now where it looks like you're in a sort of a neon. You're in a dark, sort of dark area, and it's like
that's like I think the optics level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like it's like a big neon. It's like a big neon board. And it's cool because like the different missions coincide with the board, right? So like if you're playing the forest board, there'll be ones involving like butterflies, and they'll like come up on the screen and all that. Yeah,
instead of butterflies on top of the hit points. Yeah.
It's like super cool. And then when you do when you do certain missions, like when you get certain things to happen in the board, sometimes you'll see like little video clips, which is like kind of cool. Wow. And then when you beat the whole entire thing, it shows a clip of a treasure chest being open, and it says, okay, you've beaten the board, and that means you can move on to like the next area, which is either going to be like the boss battle or the next themed board. So they have like a little bit of progression if you go through the like arcade / story mode. They kind of call it a story mode, but there's really no story. It's just a straight up pinball game which has super unique levels, but they don't put any like bullshit backstory in there. It's just, here's some unique levels, and you can do all the little achievements in there, and then you can unlock more stuff, and that's kind of how the progression goes. So, okay. Like in terms of the visuals, they're pretty on par for 2003. You know, it doesn't do any of the progressive scanning. It's a 480i game, but the visuals are pretty good. You know, they hold up well. It has good aesthetics. You know, they really did a decent job kind of building a unique experience. So I kind of have to give them credit there. Sadly, the soundtrack, not great. Not great. That really could have put the game over the edge. But they have kind of generic kind of electronic techno music, but it's not anything great. It's nothing like a Wipeout soundtrack, I'll tell you that. And, you know, they really could have put some cool stuff in there. But you know, it's fine. You know, the sound effects are on point. You know, it sounds like it's a pinball table.
You know what they should do? Mm-hmm. Why don't they bring back Flipnic and just put it on the PlayStation and do VR? Right? I mean, they did Tetris effects.
Not everything can be in VR, Dan. Not everything can be in VR.
Can be Flipnic effects.
And they already have VR pinball games out there. I think.
Really? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they have some VR pinball games. Some of them are good, some of them are like not so great. I think Flipnic could definitely do with a sequel. I'll say that. But if you're interested in trying this game out, I think it 100% holds up. Cuz you know, the controls are good, the boards are interesting. The whole presentation is pretty good. It's easy enough to play, right? Cuz it's a PlayStation 2 game. So if you have an old school PS3, backwards compatible on a PS2, any PS2 will play this game. I'm not sure about PS4 compatibility. I don't think if you put this in a PS4, it's going to end up playing, because I don't think they have any sort of digital download or anything, and I don't think there's any backwards compatibility for it. But PS2s are pretty cheap, so I would 100% say if you see this game out in the wild, pick it up, because it's pretty cheap, even though it's... I don't know if it necessarily sold that well, because I didn't really hear a lot about it, but I mean, it's
$15 on Lukey complete.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have it by next pickups, next Saturday morning retro show.
Of course. Yeah, and I guess, like, you know, the best part about the game is the ever changing stages, right? Because you jump into a stage and you're like, oh, there's not that much to do. And you start hitting some bumpers and you go up some lanes, and then all this stuff starts opening up and you're like, oh, shoot. And then you can go back to the table time and time again, and you're always finding new stuff in there, right? Because you're like, oh, I got further, I did this, I beat the alien ships that came down, right? It's you know, super cool. I guess the only negative, well, besides the music, the only other negative I have is that there's only 5 tables. There's 4 tables, and there's one unlockable religion table, I think, like theology, I think they call it. I wasn't able to unlock that one because you got to go through and beat all of the stages, and then you got to beat the boss stage and the bonus stage. But they only have like 5 themes across the board, which, you know, they could definitely do with some more levels. Otherwise, though, I think it's a pretty solid experience, especially for the, you know, upwards of $15 price tag. I think it's a pretty solid buy. So, just a quick little review roundup on this game. The Metacritic overall is 64. All right, that is it's not. No, it's average. It's average. It's more than 50%. 64 is not bad. 64 is not bad.
3 stars, right? It's a 3-star game.
Yeah. It's 8.2 from the users. And
wow. That's a big difference right now.
Right?
Right. It would usually give it an 82 compared to the 64. Right. But wow.
Okay. Yeah. So it's got a certain charm to it, right? I think maybe some of the reviewers were being a little bit harsh, or they could have criticized it for the lack of overall content, which is fair. Is very fair. On the high end, the best score came from Game Reviewer with 82, which I am not sure if they're still in business anymore. And the worst review of 33 came from Game Shark, for which
I can't find that article anywhere.
Nope, they are definitely not around anymore. So,
but the most important score is the score that Dave gives it.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna have to give this between a 7 and an 8. So I guess I'm giving it a 7.5. If we got 0.5 on the scale, it's a solid C, right? It's a solid C-B game for sure. It's fun. You can get it on the cheap. Easy to play. Easy to pick up, and it's pretty unique. There's not many games that have living pinball tables.
I'm gonna say Flipnic Effects on PSVR 2.
I would play it. I would play it. I'm pretty certain that Capcom has all but forgotten about this game, so I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. Sadly,
it's going on the shelf with all their Dreamcast fighters they had out back in the day as well.
Oh my God, I know. The Plasma Sword, was that them?
Oh, that was so good.
Right? See, there you go. Cannon Spike, Plasma Sword. I mean, come on now.
Maybe one of those will be my Saturday morning retro games for March. We'll see.
All right. Well, I think that about does it. On that note, that is episode 10 in the books, and we want to thank you guys for listening to the show and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. And if you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness at gamingpodcastalliance.com. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.